Before we jump into this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast, I want to let you know that the complete wedding videography course is coming back. We are going to be opening enrollment again on November the 14th. If you're not yet on the wait list, all you need to do is head over to completeweddingvideography.com, drop your name and email in there, and as soon as we have more announcements, as soon as the course goes online, we will let you know. The 3 modules, business, shooting, and editing, can definitely help you in your business. So if you want to get on the wait list, head over to completeweddingvideography.com. Now, let's head into this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's live recording of the How to Film Weddings podcast in Silver Falls. Is that right? Silver Falls, Oregon?
So.
At Venture Workshop 2022. Give it up. Woo! Woo! All right, my name is John Bunn, and today I'm joined by my bestest, goodest, beardest buddy, Mr. Nick Miller, and 6 of my other best, goodest buddies. And I'm going to throw it over to you, Nick, so you can tell us who they are.
Hello, welcome. I'm Nick, and we're gonna pass the microphone around and just say hello, who you are, really quick, what your business is, and then get it back to me. So I'll start with you.
All right. Hello, my name's Christine Rome, and I'm with White In Revery. And I wasn't paying attention. Is that everything else I need to say? Sure. That's great. Here you go.
Kaylin Rome from White In Revery.
I have a mic. I'm Stanton Giles with Films by Stanton.
You have to pass the mic.
Hey, I'm Matt from the internet.
It's good.
Cool. Hey, I'm David from Forestry Films.
Hello, I'm Kathryn Majic from Blink Films.
All right, so they did the lineup. That's good. Give it up for them.
That was good. So I don't know if, like, as John and I were chatting a little bit before we started this, we wanted to share a real quick how to film weddings, how it got started kind of thing. And it's really because of Venture. Seriously, it's because of Venture why How to Film Weddings got started. I, with a couple other people in this room, were at the original one in 2017, something like that. Yeah. And one of the things that I took away from it was I wanted to do education stuff. So I needed to create content for YouTube or whatever. So I sat down and I made all these videos of myself. And it happened that John saw one of those videos. So he reached out to me to second shoot for him, and then the whole How to Film Weddings thing kind of spiraled out of that. So it was really Venture in 2017 that why we're doing this today.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool just like taking that step and like you went and did something that was, and you would have never known. And that's something that you guys out in the crowd, it's like you don't know about the relationships you're going to make. You don't know what this is going to turn into for you. But I talked to so many people and people that are even here. I know Katie like was at Venture and is like can't believe that she's teaching here now or watching their career grow. And the people that invest into their education, invest into growing relationships, those are the people that we are seeing that are doing the biggest things in our industry to help move it forward and getting these bookings and having these crazy edits. And you have to take those steps. And so kudos to you for doing that. And I'm thankful for Nick for doing that. And obviously our relationship, that it's cool to see how that has grown from Venture. And I'll also say that Nick and I started How to Film Weddings in like 2018. Like 4 or 5 months in, I get a call from Kaylin saying, hey, you guys are kind of doing awesome with your podcast. Like there was still, he didn't know what to think about us. And he was like, but maybe you guys would want to come out and just hang out at Venture in May of 2019. And I just remember being on a vacation with my family, taking that call, hanging up and saying, babe, talking to my wife, like, we have made it. We're going to like get paid to go like be at a thing. And like that kind of them trusting in us to be at that event. And I got to do a live podcast recording at that one. I don't know. It kind of like set us in motion to like feel like we were legitimate to keep going. And it was like that boost that we needed after 3 or 4 months of recording episodes to be like, okay, people do see the steps that we're taking and that they're making a difference. And then when I got to Venture, you guys were like family immediately. You were like, go find their Facebook group and like all this stuff. It just was at the early stages really helped us to get going. So we wanted to say thank you to you two, especially for helping us get this going. And it's super rad. So thank you.
I'll be honest, Venture started as like just a place for friendship. And so it's really, really cool to see all of the people, the friendships happening, the friendships that we're making, the friendships we're seeing happen. I think there was one year that I saw some Venture attendees vacationing together like 7 months later. And I was like, this is important. So this is cool. And yeah, so that's why we start the whole workshop off saying, look around, make friends, get people's phone numbers. And these are going to be people you can call when you need an assistant filmmaker and stuff like that. So it's cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
We love you guys.
Yeah, and so tonight we're going to take advantage of this killer panel of amazing wedding filmmakers. We've asked the audience to have some questions ready, some things. I'm gonna throw it to Nick in a second, so whatever you want to do. But what we're gonna do is Nick and I will call on people, kind of say, hey, why don't you guys take that or whatever. But if any of you all want to speak up about a specific topic or you feel like you want to say something, please feel free to jump in.
So, let's just open it up. Is there anyone out in our studio audience? Ooh, that sounded cool, didn't it?
That's nice. I like that.
That has a question burning that they would like to ask any one of us up here on the panel, or just a general opener for the panel. Yes, you right here. So the question was, he said, we're all learning filmmaking, everyone here at Venture. Are there any of us on the panel stuff that we're still like really leaning into and learning and that stuff? So anyone want to?
I think that's a good question for everybody to answer if you ask me. Just like what you're kind of working on.
Wait, I want to think about that. I'm going to pass it to Kaylin because I feel like he's the king of always learning.
Yeah, so I feel like for me, one of my weaknesses is lighting. And I feel like whenever I'm filming, usually I'm relying on other situations to be in place. And whenever it's not, then it's on me. And I feel like that's one of the areas where, I've learned every way to film a toast. And we just experienced a wedding that had everything go wrong at one time. And no matter if my lighting was good, there was no fault. We were quick to our feet, but there was moments where we were thinking, okay, the light's going to look great here. Let's position the microphone on the stand here. We're going to have the light there. And then all of a sudden, give it to the person. They want to go talk behind the couple. They walk over to the couple. We film from this one section. People start delivering food. And then it's like, oh, man, great. And then they're going to pass it off to another person. Oh, that person doesn't want to stand over there. They want to stand over here and talk. And so they start talking. Oh, but they want the couple close to them. So now the couple's moving and they're going to be sitting next to them. We're pulling 2 to 3 different light situations on it, and then all of a sudden the father of the bride talks, and he talks for 45 minutes, and the light continually changes from sunset to nighttime all at once, and we were running out of cards. Our space was running out because I didn't plan for an hour and a half of recording toasts when it was supposed to be 20 minutes. So all of that in the moment, and I've practiced and learned, okay, I'm going to light it this way, backlight it, key light, all this, and it still fell apart. So I feel like no matter how hard I'm learning something new, I think the art of adapting is so important for us as wedding filmmakers.
I feel like whenever I first started, my work was my life. It was like my identity. I was like, yeah, you want to learn about me? I'll tell you all about the work that I do. And so I think a lot of the things right now for me, especially these last couple years, I had a lot of physical health issues and things like that. It really helped put life into perspective. So the last couple of years, the thing I have been really focusing on learning is life outside of work. So I hope that involves a lot of play. You'll hear me use the word play all the time because it's like the newest thing that I've relearned about life. I think I didn't play very much as a kid, and now as an adult, I'm like, ultimate Lego build weekends, 3 full days of Lego build weekends, and play music and like whatever feels like fun. And so life outside of work is a huge thing that I feel like I'm learning a lot over the last couple of years that I love. So.
Yeah. For me, I feel like mine's like more abstract to say, but I'm learning to lean into that which resonates with my soul the most, like, and to find, like, if you were listening to me like talk today, whenever I was teaching, I talked about how this world was created beautifully, like everything in it is beautiful, and it's our job as videographers to find that beauty and to capture it, and it's there. And there's all these little like cookie crumbs about how to actually go about capturing it. but it's like this little mystery, this little problem that has to be solved to me of like, how do I make this situation look the most beautiful? And how do I discover it in a new light? And so for me, that which resonates the most with me is like finding that new angle. And so I would say in the last year, I've kind of found like a flow, a niche of my style. And then that's kind of boring almost to me now, where I'm like, okay, that's not motivating me anymore. Let me listen to the cookie crumb trail of like my desire, what's getting me excited. And then I need to lean into that and then discover and problem solve how to figure out how to like, what's getting me excited? How do I bridge that gap to shooting in that style? So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of leaning more into the why of like what I'm doing it or why I'm doing it. And trying to make films that resonate more with me, and so that I can create the best films that I can create, because I'm only in control of myself and like the films that I'm making. And I'm going to make the best films whenever I'm most motivated by what I'm shooting. So that's kind of what I'm learning and trying to improve on. That's kind of abstract and like ethereal sounding. Like obviously that could go into like lighting, reception, details, prep, all of that stuff. And it does apply to every single one of those, but just trying to improve in each of those avenues. So.
Y'all getting like really philosophical here. Like this is getting real deep. I'm doing none of that. I'm trying to learn DaVinci Resolve because I use Premiere and it's a different program and there's new keyboard shortcuts, but it's real cool. I like it a lot. So yeah.
Let's see. Man, I feel like I'm kind of like Kaylin. I'm always learning new stuff. For me, the big thing is I've always shot on natural picture profiles, and everyone's like, oh, why don't you shoot log? I'm just lazy. That's really all it is. And so 2023, my big goal, gonna put on my big boy pants and get on log and try that out. And I think too is just like being present on the wedding day, because being an educator and doing this for so long, you get into a system of shooting a wedding. And I just loved showing up to weddings in the first year or two and being like, I can't wait for you to see your groom. Like, that's what I'm so excited about. And I've lost just being excited about weddings, not even shooting them, just the act of them getting married is so amazing. And so I'm like, how can I be more present on the day and just trust myself as an artist and kind of get rid of the over-analytical part of my brain and all the systems and just shoot. I don't have all the answers, but that's something I really love to do and kind of get better at.
All very good answers. I think being one of more of the amateurs on this panel, I realize that the longer I do this, the more I realize I don't know, truly. Like I was sitting there, I've looked up to so many of these people, and from the outside, it's like everyone has it together. Everyone seems like they know what they're doing. And as I talked about a little bit earlier today, it's like I find myself constantly coming back to my why of managing my creative health and continuously seeking that inspiration. And as I really like break down my skill set and the things that inspire me and the things that have gotten me here, there's so much that I don't know, and it can completely overwhelm me. That I think that's when imposter syndrome hits, and I'm just like, what am I even doing? Why? What? But it's like when I come back to this place of just being like, no, I'm here to create. I'm here to make people feel, and I want to lean into that. There's just a lot of pressure that comes with raising prices and people having expectations and seeing a film that has gone semi-viral and people wanting that or seeking that story and having this pressure to stay there. I just like, as David was talking today, I find myself consistently, as in my recent 6 months, always coming back to a place of wonder. And I loved how you phrased that, because I've been constantly seeking inspiration in the things that inspired me in the first place. Artists that lose themselves in their creativity, and that's what inspires me, and that's something I want to lean into. And that at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I don't care if I shoot with the same camera for the rest of my life. I just want to keep being inspired by stories. So I want to keep doing that and learning more about being inspired.
Love it.
Just so you know, you're here because you have treasures in you, and we see that, and we want to give you a place to bring forth those treasures. And so I want to address your imposter syndrome and let you know that
Does anybody out there think that she should feel imposter syndrome? No, nobody. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's real. I'll talk about it. Okay.
with that being said, imposter syndrome is a super real thing.
Yeah.
I experience it on the regular. And but I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you belong here, that you can still film with the same camera for a really long time, and I still will see that you have treasures in you that need to be brought forth. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Love you.
Do we want to answer these questions too? Okay.
Sure,
Cool.
sure.
Yeah. As I have over the there's two things that I've been really working on. I think that all of us up here are continually just enamored by learning new things and growing and getting better. And once you reach a certain spot, it's like there's this extra pressure to always be learning more and doing more and stuff. And it's been a weird thing for me in the last 5 years now of doing how to film weddings and nobody knowing or caring what your films look like as wedding filmmakers. Like nobody knew who I was 5-6 years ago, and now a bunch of you are watching my films, or it's like you feel this extra pressure, and so it was like I got to make films that like everybody's gonna like, that it's for them, and I had to get back to, I think it was David, I'm pretty sure a conversation we had you were in our mastermind group last year and saying like making films that you would hire the person, like would you hire you? Right. And I was just like, crap, I would not hire me. Like I want nostalgia in my films. I want like home footage. I love like A Little Long Distance. I love these deep, like the story leading up to the day. Like it's not just the wedding day, it's this whole story. So I really started leaning into, I just grew up in a way where I wasn't given the choice a lot as a kid or preference or things, and learning to be okay. Like I want this. I want to eat that for dinner. I want to edit my film this way because I want it. I wanted to do it. And I've really leaned into that in the last year, and I'm continuing to realize that the more I do that and finding those ideal couples that love me and what I'm doing and want me at their wedding because they've seen my heart. And it's okay if somebody is like, yikes, I don't want that John Bunn guy at my wedding. Like, no thanks. I want this kind of wedding. That's cool. And I didn't want to appeal to everybody. I didn't want to just be vanilla. I really wanted, to focus on what it is that I could bring, what voice I could bring. And I'm still finding that. But I feel like my films over the last couple of years, especially recently, I don't know if you guys heard, I went to Guatemala recently. And I know.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so guys, no, I'm kidding. But for real, like that film is like the epitome of like me putting my heart out there of like what I wanted to make, and like so proud of it. And it's cool to put something out there and get the recognition of that. That's neat. I've never cared about that. But really leaning into that, like that's something that I'm really continuing to try to do, is just what would I want for my kids as they're getting married? What would be important to me? And it's like, I love the ceremony. Some people today were saying they hate the ceremony. I'm not going to mention Matt's name. But, it's like, I love that. I love looking at people's faces and finding mom, and she's sitting there trying to hold back tears as her daughter's coming. Like, I just love that kind of stuff, and I love the nostalgia of seeing, that's grandma right there. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine like her thinking about her daughter and now her granddaughter, or like those kinds of things I'm just leaning into, and I don't care if anybody in this room or anyone in the world cares of, or I don't care to impress. I just want to make something that speaks to me. That's what I'm leaving in.
We've been doing this podcast like 250 episodes, and you would think by now I would have learned to, when a question is asked, I answer it first and let him go second, because every single time he says something very profound, and I'm with Matt. Matt's like Da Vinci. Like I've been learning audio stuff better, like audio stuff. Like that's my answer. So
audio stuff better.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe I should just answer first from now on.
You can do whatever you want, buddy. It's your podcast.
It's my podcast. I can do it.
Nick and I have to tell you about one of our favorite places to upload our wedding films, and that is Love Stories TV. Love Stories TV is one of the best free resources for us wedding filmmakers. The best part is they are bringing the couples to us. All we have to do is upload our films and we are good to go. Upload unlimited wedding films to your completely free business page. Setup is easy and your films can be live in just minutes. Now is the perfect time to start uploading to Love Stories TV. So head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to check out all of the details and see how Love Stories TV is giving away $10,000 in cash to wedding filmmakers just like you. That's howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to start uploading and connecting with the right couples today.
Hi, it's Michael from Wedditor. We want to thank everyone for the incredible support we've received since sponsoring How to Film Weddings. Yes, we've had some growing pains, but we've had far more wins. And we're doing something that's never been done. We're a remote team of over 50 editors in 10 countries. I often joke that we're as much a logistics company as we are a creative company. Right now, demand is off the charts. And we don't just say yes to everyone and scramble to figure it out. That's why we're asking you to help us help more of you. In short, we're looking for more talented wedditors. Part-time or full-time, work from where you want, when you want, as long as you hit deadlines and deliver quality. It's a chance to get paid while growing as an editor. Our project managers work with you, explaining why something feels right or doesn't, because there's always a reason. If you're interested, we'd love to hear from you. Go to wedditor.com/editor and fill out our form.
Okay, another question. I think I saw a hand over here maybe a minute ago. Nope. Yeah.
What milestone in your career helped you define and show that you were successful? Is that about right? Yeah. Let's start on this side. We'll start with...
Oh gosh, I need a minute.
Okay, Nick, you go first. We'll come to Katie next.
Make it sound good. That's what he knew.
You get to go first. Think milestone, deep thoughts. Just kidding. 10,000 followers on Instagram. Next. No, I'm just kidding.
10,000 followers on Instagram. Happened a week ago. That's not really my answer. I don't know, but I'll let Christy
No,
talk.
I was like, let me just take the mic from you real quick. No, I'm just kidding. There's several for us. There was one in particular. We did a wedding in Iceland where I felt like we had so much freedom to make have as much fun as we could. We were with them for several days, things like that. That was, I think, the first milestone. And then the one that I feel like is the most exciting is when you kind of legitimize yourself to your family, though, as someone who still's like, how's the photography business going? And I'm like, great. Thanks. I love you guys. But the first one was when, for me personally, is when Kaylin's family was like, you know who you filmed Julian Huff? That was a big moment for me. That felt like a milestone. It was when the family started realizing that we are doing things that they could understand. So I love them.
Nick has one.
I have a real one. Okay, so I think it was no, I know it was in 2017. I left my day job to do video full time, and I think that that was definitely a big milestone. You know, a lot of us in here, you know, that's the dream. I want to quit my day job to do this full time, and I know that's not everyone's dream, but that was something that I had kind of aspired to, and that was really a moment that was a huge step, as a lot of people up here have made that step before. Know what that being. So that was huge for me. So that was my more real one. Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah. I think anytime that, going back to imposter syndrome, anytime that there is something that happens that's like a definitive breakthrough objectively of like your imposter syndrome, is something that's extremely like a huge milestone. And like you have the ones where you're like your friends and stuff like that, and brides tell you that you're like your films are amazing, all this kind of stuff. But the people that I've always looked up to have been the filmmakers in my community. And like in the back of my head, I'm always wanting to impress my peers. Like I want to impress other filmmakers, and like that's the standard to me. It's not like what the brides think to a certain degree. Like I know that sounds bad, but I know if I'm going to impress the filmmakers, I'm for sure going to impress the brides. It's kind of like that thing. And so like always had that fear. And I remember back when I started the Destination Videographer group, that just imposed even more imposter syndrome for me. And John is a mentor, but was a huge mentor back then. And like, even starting a Facebook group. And so with that growing, that was like mounting imposter syndrome. And then getting the Love Story TV, the filmmaker of the year, was an affirmation from my peers very definitively. I remember I was watching it at the gym on the crappy Wi-Fi because I couldn't sit at home because I was so just like nervous about it. And I like just started crying in the middle of the gym. And it was just like this breakthrough of the imposter syndrome tower for once, just falling down. And yeah, that was a huge milestone for me. That was a lot of fun.
I'll say that for me, there was a moment in 2014 after I'd been filming weddings for about 4 years now. And this wasn't a milestone in the sense of like, wow, I had a huge accomplishment. It was actually like when I felt like my lowest in a terrible way, but in like such a growing way. I had the opportunity to film a commercial shoot with this company, Still Motion, who, if you've been filming weddings for a while, then you've heard of them. They were kind of the OGs of wedding films. Crazy, incredible storytellers. I got paid $125 a day to be a PA for them, and it was like life-changing. But the second night of filming with them, we were in this hotel room, and we had like an hour to kill before the talent came in to be, we had all the lights set up and everything like that. And Patrick Moreau, the creator of the company, he was like, hey, show me some of your wedding films. And that's like LeBron asking you to play basketball. You're like, all right, man, but it ain't gonna be pretty. We'll see what happens here. And he proceeded to completely just like deconstruct everything that I thought that I knew and understood in the like most helpful yet challenging way. And in only that whenever like you were saying, we're like, oh, mom and dad like the film. Great, cool, thanks. And you're like, great, tell me where I suck. Like, tell me where I'm bad so I can improve. And it was that, and it was all that. And it was so good. And that was really legitimately the trajectory, because I left literally the day after that shoot and I went to Yosemite and I filmed a wedding. And it was like, oh, I have so much more to shoot and so much different way of doing things. And like, even from that point, literally like 8 years ago now, I still look back on that point as like a huge shift. So it's cool. Yeah, I was terrible, but I'm getting better every day, trying to. Yeah.
Let's see. I think for me, I remember when the first year I did weddings, made no money. I remember eating dinner off my Pelican case. And I was like, is this the life of a wedding videographer? Is this like the top? And I remember that first year, I think I made $30,000 and then I spent $60,000 on gear. I'm like, I am just really bad with this money stuff. This is horrible. And then the next year, kind of same thing. Made a lot, but then spent it all in gear and shooters and things like that. And I remember the third year crunching the numbers and being like, I would make more money as a Starbucks employee working part-time than being a full-time filmmaker. And I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? My parents are right. This is a bad choice. And it wasn't until the fifth year where I was like, oh my goodness, we made $60,000 and we have $5,000 of profit and we paid off school debt. Oh my goodness. And I think that was the point where I'm like, I can do this for a living. And that was like a big aha moment where, okay, cool. I can do this, and it just really changed everything, kind of gave me that passion to continue going.
It's really interesting thinking about this answer. I'm like sitting here pondering, trying to come up with something, but all I keep landing on is when I started my business, I was like so focused on the present moment in that, and I set a goal. I was like, I think I said this earlier, as long as I can just sustain myself and pay my bills every month. I don't care if it means living month to month. Like there would be months where I was sitting there looking at my bank account with tears in my eyes, just being like, I don't know if I am going to be able to pay rent next month. And then somehow, by the grace of God, something would come through, or I'd like beg for some sort of job. But I just had a 5-year plan in my head, and I'm like, I just have to do this. I'm going to make it work. And every month, somehow, I've been able to do it. And I just keep climbing that ladder and climbing that ladder. But now I'm at a place in my business where it's like, man, what did I plan beyond these 5 years? Like I kind of did what I set out to do. So I'm in a cool place right now where it's like, I'm open to so much discovery and looking at my life and how I can build on what I've built to keep like climbing higher and tell greater stories. And I think that's going to look like a lot of different things for me. But it's really exciting because going through this entire journey, I've reached a place where I'm just like, I want to pat myself on the back and just be like, you did it. Like, I'm so proud of myself. But then it's like, now I'm so excited for the next 5 years, 10 years, and what that's going to look like. So however that answers that question, I don't know.
That is neat. For me, it has really, oh, sorry. Yes, the microphone next to my mouth. Thanks. I think I would know that by now. But it really doesn't have anything to do necessarily with like shooting weddings, editing weddings, money, all that's great. I think the biggest milestones to me involve my personal family. Like when my wife got to quit her job and be home with our kids, like that was really important for us. And then whenever I was first able to say no to a wedding just because I didn't want to take it and I'd rather be with my family on that specific weekend, that was to me like, oh my gosh, I've made it. I feel accomplished. And it's like, no, I don't want to take that wedding in that month or that week because it's my daughter's birthday that week. Or it's like, no, I'm not going to take it. Or turning down bigger project weddings just because I could tell I didn't jive well with the couple. Like the time freedom stuff's really important to me, and like being able to say, no, I'm good. I don't. So that's the big accomplishment that I'm working on now, is just being able to say no to the things that I know are not a heck yes, and if it's not a heck yes, it's a no for me. And that's like the reality that I now get to live in. So that's my biggest, what I am saying.
Also for me, when Matt Johnson accepted my Facebook friend request.
So glad to be here.
Hey everyone, Blake Polino here, Blake the editor, Blake the producer, whatever I'm getting called these days. I just wanted to jump in and thank you so much for listening to this episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. But I want to let you know this is going to be a 2-part series. There's just so much information that we wanted to split it up into 2 episodes to give everyone time to listen to it. So thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check back with us next week for part 2 of this awesome live Q&A with this great panel of guests from the Venture Workshop. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, we will see ya.
Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films? Look no further. Our friends over at VidFlow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. VidFlow is pay-per-use with no large upfront costs or commitment, and you can cancel at any time. VidFlow offers a premium viewing experience for all of your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years of hosting and an experience for your couples that will blow them away. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/vidflow, where you can save 20% off a yearly business membership by using promo code HTFW20. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way. Give your couples something to rave about by using VidFlow.